Hi, I'm back. Today I want to talk about a couple of my friends. In the book, their names were Jace and Robin. In real life, their names are Cash and Amy. Tomorrow I'll talk about my kids because that was also a request, but I couldn't fit two into one video. Again, we have to keep these at a decently short length, at least for now, until I get a little bit better equipment along the way. But let's talk about Cash. Uh, Cash, I met him when I was 15, I think, and he was the perpetual cool guy. Everybody wanted to be his friend. He was like mysterious, didn't talk about himself a whole lot to people. He made sure that everybody had this want to know more about him, and he just kept them in the dark. So everybody flocked around him. He also had a 1971 bright yellow Dodge Challenger in mint condition, and he drove that thing around, and I promise you, we all wanted to be in it. So we started talking, and he was like kind of a little abrasive, as most teenagers are, but I wanted to get closer to him, at first because of the status, and then when we started dating, we clicked. He actually talked to me when we were alone about things that he didn't talk to people about, his personal life, things that happened to him, that I just for his protection I won't talk about, maybe at a later story or something. But he opened up to me, and he was the first person I ever loved. He really was. We were best friends. Also, we dated for like a year, and then we were still friends for a lot longer than that. um, we've always had this kind of cosmic connection, I guess you would say. And when we split up, it was because we didn't have a chance to really see each other a lot, and um, and we kind of just went separate ways or whatnot. But we both kind of came to regret that later. Um, so fast forward, 20 some odd years later, we've kept in contact on Facebook off and on. He was made to unfriend me by his ex for a couple of years there, and then he refriended me in secret. And um, just after I split up with my horrible ex, which was just a little over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, about 2 weeks after that, I was sitting at home and I got a random message on Messenger, and it was him. And again, his real name is Cash, and he was like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while, but I'm going to be in Vegas, and I just wanted to know if you wanted to meet up for coffee." So I started messaging him and kind of testing the waters, and we clicked immediately in text again. And we are literally cut from the same soul. And so we met for coffee, which turned into a lot more than coffee. And we've been together ever since. We'd had a long distance relationship. I moved to Missouri for almost a year, and he would fly to see me, and I flew to see him. And he finally talked me into moving back to Reno, and here I am, and we're living together. Um, but so far, so good. We haven't gotten in a single argument, and we've been in the same house for 6 months, so that's saying something. Now, as far as Amy or Robin goes, we were best friends. We were yin and yang, basically. She was a little more hardcore and edgy than I was, at first at least. She wanted to um, influence me in certain ways, and of course I was easily influenced in those ways at those times. Um, but we had a lot of fun. We were always together. Um, we She was also in the car the night I first got high, for sure. Um, we have had a lot of connections after high school as well. I actually lived with her for a few months when I broke up with my first husband, even. So that's kind of saying something. But she was high for a lot longer than I was, and we drifted apart because she just couldn't get sober, and I was there for her, but I couldn't um, really connect with her because she was on heroin for a long, long time. But she just recently, within the last couple of years, finally picked herself up and got herself sober. with a lot of talking, we reconnected and started talking, and I tried to help her through it. And it took losing her husband to an OD, but she's got her life together now. She has come a long, long way, but it took her a long time. But we have talked a lot since I've been back to Reno. She's out in Fernley, maybe, which is like an hour away. So we're gonna link up and hang out and stuff now that it's safe to do so without having to worry about our minds being in the wrong place, and that makes me really happy. Um, I don't know if that's, I mean, when I was in high school, it was really important to me to be popular because in middle school and right up through the end of the eighth grade, I was actually one of the biggest nerds you would ever even possibly imagine. And when I went away for that summer at my dad's house, one thing that really did change that summer is I came back completely different. New clothes, new hair, and as soon as I came back, and I got rid of my glasses and I got contacts, and everything changed for me. And it was so important to me to hold on to that newfound popularity. I was easily influenced into doing what all the other kids were doing so that I would fit in, so I wouldn't stand out. I did not want to be that person that was a stick in the mud and held everyone else back, because I desperately wanted to fit in. And connecting with Cash definitely solidified that. Again, he was the go-to because he had a lot more freedom than a lot of us did. So he was able to come and pick us up when we snuck out in the middle of the night, things of that nature, which helped us get into a little bit of trouble. But again, there was much, much more to him underneath the surface. And now that he's been sober for years and years, it's a lot easier to make those connections and really be happy together. We have figured out that we were made for each other. We everything about us, we have some counterpoints, but everything we think the same. We'll start texting each other at the exact same time after not talking to each other for an hour. You can see the bubbles come up while I start texting. Things like that. We're very strongly connected, and I have a lot of hopes that we're going to stay that way. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate all you guys. Again, I'll talk about my kids tomorrow. There's a little bit of a pile of them, so I can go over who they are and what they've grown up to be so far. And just make sure you like and subscribe. Again, we need exposure. I need to grow as much as possible, and I really appreciate all the support and the love. And I can't wait for the next one. All right, guys, I'm getting excited now. All right, bye.